Hello, Roman Budek from NXP Semiconductors. We're going to do a quick demo on a very useful feature, how to do wireless UART with the KW41 parts. So BLE applications, doing in particular KW wireless UART transfer data from an Android tablet or between two different boards. We're going to be using the example we're going to start with is called a wireless UART example, as one would expect. There's lots of documentation to get started. The best way to do it is to look at a PDF file called Getting Started with MCU Expresso. So using that manual, it'll show you how to install and import projects. The wireless UART is hidden a little bit. You'll have to go in under wireless examples, Bluetooth, and then scroll down until you get to the part that says wireless UART. Install both the BM and the free RTOS if you would. For the application, that's what we'll be using for running it. How to build it and so forth is shown in the Getting Started with MCU Expresso guide. But again, this just clarifies where to find that project that we're going to be using. Two different demonstrations. The first one will be a demonstration between the Freedom board, Freedom 41 KW41 board, and an Android tablet that's running the IoT software called IoT Toolbox that will allow it to do a wireless UART transfer. Second example will be between two Freedom boards. Rather than using two PCs, there'll be one PC used with two different COM ports, so don't get confused. The data is not going over the USB, it is going over the Bluetooth link. However, what it will be doing is using, again, two COM ports on one PC so that we can record a video, and that same laptop and all the applications will be used to record the video as well as run the BLE examples. So let's get started with doing the application. Hello, Roman Budek. So I'm going to show how the board and the wireless UART works with the KW41Z part. I will be using the wireless UART example, so I've loaded it from the SDK. First thing that I can do is I can go into board H and find out my serial port is at 115.2K baud, and that's where I'm going to set up my terminal. Where do I want to set it up? I check under Device Manager, and it says in this case my newer boards are J-Link compatible, so it's COM13. And so what I go to COM13 is I open up my Terra terminal, I go for my serial port, and it's COM13, which is showing up here under Device Manager. It's 115.2K baud, which is what my software said it should be. And so I hit OK on that. My other setups that I may want to do, I'm going to do local echo so I could see what I type. VT100 is fine. So again, the 115K baud came from here, from this board.h. It's going to be using 115.2K baud. So I'll be showing off screen what happens between a tablet, but I'll be connecting the tablet to the Freedom board. And what I will do now is I will go ahead and debug it. Waiting for my software to build by looking at the console window. I can also obviously check up here my debugger windows would change. My buttons will become active as soon as the load is done. Okay, so my resume button is ready. My board state, both the round and square LEDs are off. And what I will do now when I hit start is that, again off screen I'll show you, is that both LEDs start blinking at a fast rate, the white multicolor one and the red square one. What I do next is I hit and I'll open up the terminal here, sorry about that, Terra terminal here. I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen here. That was the debugger commands. What I will hit off screen is SW3, that does my scanning operation. Now my red LED is just blinking, the white multicolor LED goes out. I hit connect on my tablet, the red LED goes to a solid color. And then now I have a keyboard on my tablet, so I will type off screen test in lowercase letters. As soon as I hit enter, it shows up in my Terra terminal, and what I do is I type return test, just for the heck of it, all in caps, and as soon as I hit enter, it shows up on my tablet in a blue color, and I'll be showing you how that runs off screen. Next demo then would be between two Freedom boards, but let's go ahead and show you what happens off screen. Normal state of my Freedom board after I've connected the software. I'm going to show the LED states when I connect up to a tablet or to a second Freedom board. I have two LEDs here. The round white multicolor LED is blinking. It may be a little hard to see, but the square red LED are both blinking. That's the normal power-up state. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to push this button here, SW4, in order to enable scanning and looking for a pairing. My red square LED comes on my tablet, which is off screen. I start to do a scan. Soon as I make a connection, which I did, the red LED becomes a solid, and now I can send commands from one tablet to the device, and with the terminal send device commands back. As soon as I disconnect, my red LED starts to blink again. And let's go back and see what it actually does with TerraTerm. Great, so let's show you what happens on the Android tablet as I run the application. My board state is that it had started running. Both my LEDs are blinking. I now go ahead and hit SW3 on the Freedom board, and my red LED square one is blinking, the multicolor one is off. I'm going to select wireless control UART over here on my tablet, and when I see that it does find an unbonded part, I did not change the BLD address, so I will click on that to bond with it. And so sorry, I had to hit scan again. I'm not sure why that happened. And now what happens is I do have my terminal, and over here I see the terminal on my screen from the COM13. I'm going to clear the screen here so you can see both sides of the transaction. I'll move that aside. On my, I'll actually put that up here. So on my tablet now I will type test. And when I hit enter on my Android tablet, you can see it shows up on my KW41 board. The wireless UART shows up as test. Now what I'm going to do is move the screen down here, and I'll type a reply with all caps on to differentiate it, and I'm going to type return. You can tell as soon as I hit enter on the keyboard, message comes back into the window on my IoT toolbox showing return test. And again, I could keep pinging different messages and sending them back and forth, and watch the wireless UART transmitting. This time, and so that is the wireless UART running between the Android tablet and the Freedom board. Now let's try to connect up two Freedom boards together. Hello, Roman Budek. I'm back, and I'm going to show how to hook up two KW41Z boards together now and not use the tablet. So the configuration I'm going to use is I'm going to flash the first board and then use the second one, just run it with a debug mode. That'll just show a little bit of variety. I could certainly flash both and then just communicate with them as is. It gets a little tricky because I'm going to have to keep checking my COM ports that do get reassigned after it's flashed. So I'm back to my original board being at COM13. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to flash it. I'm going to go under here, debug configuration, and I'm going to go flash it. Go over here to run. That will flash my first board, and then I will run the second one on my using the debugger. So what I've done here and down here, it says that the script processing was completed. It did reflash. As a test, I will pull out the board, pull it out of my COM port, and then if I plug it into a standard serial port, which you can't see, it's off screen, I'm not going to bother showing that. When I do press it, the LEDs will run the same way. First the LEDs come, no LEDs are on, then it starts to come up with both LEDs flashing. I hit the button SW4 and it does go ahead and go into advertising mode and trying to bond and pair. So I will now unplug that one. Take my second board and I'm going to plug it in. And the reason I unplugged it is just to make sure that when I go to debug my second board that I know which board I'm debugging and which one I'm flashing. So let me plug that in to original serial port. And let's see where that one shows up. Still coming up. So it is, oh, it's taken over COM13. And that's the one that I'm going to use for debugging. Sometimes that COM port again does get reassigned. So what I will do here is I will then go ahead and debug this one to run it. And then verify that I can make a connection with it. I'll need two versions of TerraTerm open, which is nice because they'll both run. And so I will hit the execute button, verify my port again is in fact 13, so it's using my old port of the old board even though it's a different board, and terminal board. So I will pick the one on the left, clear the screen, and I will do a serial port, and I need this one to be COM13 115.2. Go ahead and hit the button to scan. I hit the scan. I scan on my tablet. Made a connection. Type board 2. Tablet is trying to make a connection here, and then I'll be able to test it. The LEDs are blinking, showing that it's pairing, connected. I'm going to communicate to board 2. And board 2 came back, and I will type on here in caps, back. And so the second board worked. Okay, so I want to disconnect my tablet. And what I'm going to do is plug my first board in. So again, board number 2 is running the software out of the debugger. Board number 2 has it flashed, and so when I plug it in, all I'm going to get is a COM port for it, and then I'll be able to do the communication with it. Okay, so I heard the beep that it did make a connection. Board number 2, and I see the LEDs are flashing properly. So Freedom board, Google Drive. Okay, so now I want to check what is that COM port of the second one. It does get reassigned. It is COM42. So I will take my TerraTerm, this one, and make it be clear screen COM42. Just make sure I have the right setup. COM42, it is set up properly. So what I have now is fast blinking LED on the original board, has the two LEDs blinking. The other board has a blinking LED. I'll hit the SW4 on board number 2 while it's executing, and then I will hit SW4 on the first board, and they both go solid, which means they both made a connection. Therefore I'm talking from COM42 to COM13. And again, in the background here, I could see I'm running. So what's running is on COM13. I will clear the screen here. And so this is board 2. I will type that in uppercase letters, board 2. And what I see, it's instantly, character by character, gets sent. I saw board 2 appear here on the second board using 2 COM ports on one computer. I will clear this screen and I will then type this is a long message back. So board number 1, which is my first board, is now COM42. That's running out of flash into my second board, which is COM13, and you can see it returns the messages and so forth. If I did the carriage return line feed, then I would be able to see the line increment. Demonstration again of how to use 2 Freedom boards with a wireless UART. Any questions? Let me know.